Hello, everybody. Happy Tuesday. And today we're going to do a 10-minute math. We're going to start off our lesson with estimating products on a 10-minute math. We're going to start with 2 3/8 times 8. So 8, 2 3/8 times, right? Well, 2 3/8 is kind of like 2.5. 8 times. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to think about what I know about 2 3/8 times 8, and then afterwards, I'm going to show you the three options, and then we're going to pick the one that we think is best. Well, 2 3/8 is kind of like 2.5, because 4/8 is half. So 2 3/8 is kind of like 2.5. So I know 2 times 8 is 16, and 1/2 of 8 is 4, right? So 2 times 8 is 16, then 1/2 of 8 is 4. I put them together, I get 20. I bet that's one of the options. Let's find out. Sure enough, I looked at the book, and the options were 6, 12, and 20. So the best estimate, of course, would be 20, which was my estimate to begin with. Let's look at this one. So this one says 110 times 5 4/6. Well, let's think about what we know here. 5 4/6 is less than 6. It's more than 5. It's more than halfway. It's about 5.5, right? 5 4/6 is about 5.5. It's a little bit more than. It's close to 6. So 110 times 6 would be 660, right? But it's going to be less than that. Let's look at the choices. The choices are 50, 500, or 600. Well, we know 110 times 5 is 550, right? But it's 5 4/6. So I bet it's closer to 600 than to 500. It's definitely not going to be 50. It's going to be between 500 and 600, but it's probably going to be closer to 600 because 110 times 5 is 550, and 110 times 6 is 660. But that's a little less than 6, so I think this is the best estimate. Let's do one more. I'm going to see if you guys can figure this one out. The best estimate. We're just estimating here. 240 times 3 6/9. We know 3 6/9 is not quite 4, but it's more than 3.5. The options are 600, 800, and 1,000. We know 240 times 3, 250 times 3 is 750. And it's almost 4, but not quite. Which do you think is the best estimate and why? Best estimate and why? Let's think. Well, we know 240 times 3 is actually 720, so it's close to 750. Let's just write 750 because we know 250, 500, 750 times 3. But also 6/9 of 240 or 250. 6/9 is the same as 2/3. 1/3 of that is 1/3 of 240 is 80. 2/3 would be 160. We add them together, 750, which is about 243 times. It's really 720. Plus 160, when you add them together, it's 910. So if you said 800, you're close. If you said 1,000, you're close. Really, you could justify it either way. But 600 is definitely going to be too low. Ooh, upside down, Mr. Auslander. There we go. So boys and girls, this is just estimation. It's our 10-minute math, which is really closer to 5 minutes. After you do this, I'm going to have you do another Edpuzzle video lesson that's just going to be a bit of a review of multiplying fractions and mixed numbers, because we haven't done it since last week. And then you'll do a Canvas assignment, which is more practicing multiplication of mixed numbers and regular fractions. And then I hope to see you at 3 p.m. for small group Zoom. It'll be really important to continue to practice multiplying fractions and mixed numbers. Okay? All right, guys. I'll see you in the next video. Well, that's blurry. Sorry, I was blurry.